Imagine waking in a world where every sunrise could be your last, where survival was the only law that mattered. This was the Stone Age, not just an era of primitive tools, but a crucible where humanity itself was forged. Our ancestors lived without cities, without writing, without any certainty that tomorrow would ever come at all. What if you could walk beside them for a single day and witness the raw struggle of being human? Not just a glimpse of the past, but a window into the very essence of what made us who we are. Every moment was a battle against hunger, cold, predators, and the relentless indifference of nature itself. How did they survive when the world offered nothing but stone, fire, and the thin hope of another dawn? The sun rises over a landscape that stretches endlessly, unmarked by roads or fields or any human hand. A small band of people stirs in the half-light, their shelter nothing more than branches and animal hides against the wind. These are Homo sapiens, anatomically modern humans, living 30,000 years before the first cities would ever rise. Their world is the Paleolithic, the age of stone and ice, where every tool must be carved from rock or bone. The morning begins not with breakfast, but with the urgent need to find it somewhere in the vast wilderness. A woman kneels by the embers of last night's fire, coaxing them back to life with dried grass and patient breath. Fire is more than warmth here. It is protection, light in the darkness, and the barrier between life and death. Children huddle close to the flames, their eyes wide and watchful, learning the lessons that will keep them alive. Have you ever wondered what it would feel like to live without a single certainty beyond the present moment? The hunters gather their spears, weapons tipped with carefully shaped flint that took hours of patient work to create. Each point is a masterpiece of Stone Age engineering, sharp enough to pierce hide and strong enough to bring down prey. They move out into the cold morning, reading tracks in the earth that tell stories we have long forgotten. A herd of reindeer passed this way in the night, their hoofprints pressed deep into the frost-hardened ground. The hunt is not sport or leisure. It is the difference between eating today and watching children go hungry. They walk for hours through forests of pine and birch, their breath misting in air that bites at exposed skin. Meanwhile, those who remain behind begin the endless work of gathering what the land offers to those who know where to look. What would you do if your survival depended entirely on your knowledge of plants, animals, and the changing seasons? Women and older children spread out across the landscape, their eyes trained to spot edible roots and berries among the undergrowth. They dig with sharpened sticks, pulling tubers from the earth that will supplement whatever meat the hunters can provide. Every plant must be known intimately. One mistake, one wrong berry, and death comes swiftly through poison or starvation. This knowledge is passed down through generations in stories and songs, the only library these people will ever possess. A young girl watches her grandmother's hands as they work, learning which leaves heal wounds and which ones kill. Back in the forest, the hunters have found their quarry, a small group of reindeer grazing in a clearing ringed by ancient trees. They communicate in gestures and whispers, coordinating an approach that has been refined over countless generations of trial and error. The lead hunter raises his spear, muscles tensed, knowing that one throw must be perfect, or the herd will scatter forever.
The spear flies through the cold air, a streak of wood and stone that connects human need with animal flesh. The reindeer falls, and the others bolt into the forest, leaving behind the gift that will feed the band for days. But there is no celebration yet. Predators are drawn to blood, and the scent of death travels far on the wind. They work quickly, using flint blades to butcher the animal, wasting nothing that can be used or carried back to camp. Meat, hide, sinew, bone. Every part has value in a world where nothing can be taken for granted or thrown away. The journey back is slower, burdened with the weight of their kill and the constant vigilance against wolves and cave lions. Can you imagine carrying everything you own on your back, moving with the seasons like water flowing across the land? By midday, the gatherers have returned with baskets woven from grass, filled with roots, nuts, and early spring greens. An old woman sorts through the day's harvest, setting aside the best seeds to be planted in clearings they will visit again. Yes, even in the Stone Age, humans were beginning to understand that some plants could be encouraged to grow where needed. Children play near the camp, but their games are lessons in disguise, teaching them to track, to throw, to survive.
A boy practices with a small spear, aiming at a target of bundled grass, missing more often than hitting, but learning nonetheless. His father watches from a distance, remembering his own childhood and the long path from clumsy child to skilled hunter. The hunters arrive as the sun begins its descent, their success announced by the burden they carry on makeshift stretchers. The entire band gathers to help process the kill, a communal effort that binds them together through shared labor and reward. Fire is built up high, and strips of meat are set to cook on hot stones, while others are hung to dry. This is wealth in the Stone Age. Full bellies tonight, and the promise of food for tomorrow and the day after. What if we told you that these people possessed skills and knowledge that most modern humans have completely lost forever? An elder begins to work on the reindeer hide, scraping away fat and tissue with a tool made from the animal's own leg bone. This hide will become clothing, shelter, or containers, transformed through days of labor into something essential for survival in the cold. Not just survival, but the accumulated wisdom of 10,000 generations learning to thrive in a world without mercy or convenience. As darkness falls, the band gathers around the fire, the only light in a wilderness that stretches unbroken to the horizon. Stories begin to flow, tales of ancestors and spirits, of great hunts and terrible winters, keeping history alive in human memory. A young man paints symbols on a piece of bark, images of the hunt that will help him remember and teach others. These are the first artists, the first storytellers, the first humans to look at the world and try to capture its meaning. The fire crackles and pops, throwing shadows that dance across faces weathered by wind and sun and the endless struggle to endure. Children fall asleep, wrapped in furs, their dreams perhaps filled with the animals they will one day hunt themselves in turn. But the adults remain awake longer, tending the fire that must never be allowed to die completely in the cold night. Losing fire means starting again from scratch, a process of friction and patience
that can take hours of exhausting effort. So they take turns through the night, feeding the flames, watching for predators, and guarding the fragile warmth of human civilization. The stars wheel overhead in patterns that guide travelers and mark the passage of seasons with celestial precision and beauty. Have you ever seen a night sky completely untouched by artificial light, where the Milky Way blazes like a river of fire? This is their sky every night, a constant reminder of their smallness and the vast mystery of existence itself. Before dawn, a woman rises and begins to prepare tools for the day ahead, sharpening blades and checking spear bindings carefully. Maintenance is survival here. A broken tool at the wrong moment can mean the difference between success and starvation, or death. She works by firelight, her hands moving with practiced efficiency, born from a lifetime of making and mending and making again. The camp begins to stir as the first light touches the eastern sky, painting the world in shades of gold and rose. Another day begins, identical to yesterday and tomorrow, yet each one a unique battle against the indifference of nature and time. This is daily life in the Stone Age. Not a single dramatic moment, but an endless succession of small victories and defeats. They do not think of themselves as primitive or backward. They are simply people doing what people have always done to survive. What we call the Stone Age, they would call life, the only existence they know or can imagine, beyond the stories of elders. They laugh, they love, they grieve, they create art and music and meaning in a world that offers none of these things freely. Not just surviving, but living with an intensity and presence that our comfortable modern lives have largely forgotten or abandoned completely. The band will move soon, following the herds and the seasons, carrying everything they own on their backs once more into the unknown. They leave behind only stone tools and fire-cracked rocks, the faintest whisper of their existence for archaeologists to find millennia later. But in those scattered artifacts lies a profound truth. These were people exactly like us, in every way that truly matters. Their brains were identical to ours, capable of the same thoughts, feelings, and dreams that fill our own minds today. The only difference is time and circumstance. The accumulated knowledge that each generation builds upon the last, like layers of sediment. They gave us language, art, music, and the fundamental human drive to understand the world and our place within its vast design. Without their struggles, their innovations, their refusal to surrender to a hostile world, we would not exist at all, in any form. Every fire we light, every tool we use, every story we tell carries an echo of those ancient people and their daily battles. The Stone Age lasted for millions of years, far longer than all of recorded history combined, a testament to human adaptability and resilience. During that vast expanse of time, humans spread across the entire planet, adapting to every climate and environment Earth could offer. From tropical forests to Arctic tundra, from coastal shores to inland mountains. They found ways to survive and even thrive against all odds. Can you imagine the courage it took to walk into unknown lands, not knowing what dangers or opportunities waited beyond the next valley? Today, we find their handprints on cave walls, pressed into stone 30,000 years ago, reaching across time to touch us still. We excavate their camps and find the bones of their meals, the tools they made, the ochre they used to paint their bodies. Each artifact is a message from the past, telling us that they were here, they lived, they mattered in the grand story of humanity. The Stone Age ended not with a dramatic event, but with the slow accumulation of innovations that we now call the Neolithic Revolution. Agriculture, pottery, permanent settlements, each advancement built upon the foundation of knowledge that Stone Age people had painstakingly acquired through trial and error. But something was lost, too: the intimate knowledge of the natural world, the skills that kept humans alive for countless generations in wilderness. Most modern humans could not survive a single week in the conditions that our ancestors endured every day of their entire lives. We have gained so much, but we have also forgotten what it means to live in direct relationship with the earth and its rhythms. The next time you light a fire or use a knife, remember that someone in the Stone Age invented these things from nothing but necessity. They looked at stone and saw tools, at fire and saw survival, at the world and saw not obstacles, but infinite possibilities for adaptation. We are their legacy, carrying forward torch they lit in the darkness of prehistory, a flame that has never been extinguished. Daily life in the Stone Age was hard beyond our modern comprehension, but it was also fully human in every sense that truly matters. And in their story, written in stone and bone and the very DNA we carry, we find the answer to who we are and where we came from.